nothing prepares you for the ending of The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3, Episode 8. Just when you think Belly has made her choice, the ground beneath her shifts. Love, betrayal, and fear collide in a way that leaves not only Belly torn apart, but also shatters the fragile bond between the Fisher brothers. What unfolds is not just a romantic dilemma, it's the breaking point of everything the series has been building toward. This is the moment where secrets explode, hearts are laid bare, and the question of who Belly truly belongs with becomes more complicated than ever. Let's unravel the shocking ending, because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. It begins like a celebration, but beneath the surface, everything is cracking. Belly steps into the wedding weekend with Jeremiah by her side, determined to follow through with a decision she believes will give her the stability she's been craving. To the outside world, she looks like the picture of a glowing bride-to-be. But inside, her emotions are a storm she cannot silence. Every smile feels rehearsed, every laugh feels fragile, and every glance toward Conrad reminds her of the truth she's trying so desperately to bury. Conrad, on the other hand, is no longer the quiet observer he has been all season. After carrying the weight of his feelings in silence, he finally reaches his breaking point. The tension inside him is no longer something he can swallow. It has become too heavy, too consuming. Watching Belly walk toward a future with Jeremiah is unbearable, especially when he knows that Jeremiah hasn't been honest. And so, in a moment that changes everything, Conrad finally speaks up. He reveals Jeremiah's betrayal. The cheating that Jeremiah tried to bury now comes to the surface, and it lands like a thunderbolt. For the audience, it's explosive. For Jeremiah, it's a death sentence to his carefully constructed image of the perfect fiancé. And for Belly, it's a test of everything she's been holding on to. But here's the real shock. Belly doesn't look devastated. She doesn't fall apart. Instead, she meets Conrad's revelation with a calm confession of her own. She already knew. That single moment flips the entire narrative. Instead of being blindsided, Belly shows us just how aware she has been all along. She knew Jeremiah wasn't perfect. She knew he had betrayed her. And yet, she was still willing to marry him. Why? Because Jeremiah, despite his flaws, represents safety. He is the sure thing, the stable choice in a life where she's been pulled back and forth by emotions, heartbreak, and uncertainty. Belly isn't choosing Jeremiah out of passion. She's choosing him out of fear. Fear of what it means to follow her heart back to Conrad and risk being shattered again. This revelation changes how we see Belly entirely. She's not naive. She's not blind. She is making a conscious decision to cling to certainty, even if that certainty is broken. It's a decision that feels mature on the surface, but tragic when you look deeper. Because in choosing Jeremiah, she is betraying herself, her own heart, her own desires, the truth she's been running from since season 1. And for Conrad, this calm reaction from Belly is devastating. His attempt to stop the wedding with truth wasn't enough. The betrayal wasn't the breaking point he thought it would be. So, with nothing else left to lose, he decides to bear the deepest truth of all, that he is still in love with her. This is no longer about Jeremiah's mistakes. This is about Conrad's last chance to fight for the girl he never stopped loving. As the section closes, the stage is set for chaos. Belly is trapped between the comfort of Jeremiah and the raw pull of Conrad. Jeremiah is backed into a corner, his secrets no longer safe, and Conrad has unleashed emotions that will either bring him closer to Belly or destroy the fragile bond between him and his brother forever. The calm before the storm is gone. What comes next is a collision of love, lies, and impossible choices. The abio, moment Conrad finally speaks the truth. The air shifts. It's not just about Jeremiah's betrayal anymore. It's about Conrad himself stepping out of the shadows he has lived in for so long. For Belly, hearing Conrad admit he's still in love with her is like having a wound ripped open that she thought had long healed. She has spent months convincing herself that her love for Conrad was too dangerous, too unreliable, too painful to ever chase again. And now, in the middle of preparing to marry his brother, he's forcing her to face the one truth she wanted to avoid. She never stopped loving him either. But why doesn't Belly leap into his arms? Why doesn't she follow her heart in this moment of desperate honesty? The answer lies in her fear. Belly has been burned before, and no flame hurts like the one Conrad left behind. Their love has always been passionate, magnetic, impossible to ignore, but it has also been messy. With Conrad, she remembers sleepless nights filled with tears, endless misunderstandings, and the feeling of always being left behind. He has hurt her, not because he wanted to, but because he couldn't give her the stability she needed. And that's where Jeremiah comes in. With him, she doesn't feel that same danger of heartbreak. Jeremiah is safe, he is dependable. Even when he makes mistakes, as devastating as his betrayal was, he comes back, eager to fix things, ready to fight for her in a way Conrad never seemed to. Belly clings to that idea of safety because her entire world has already been shaken. Her father is gone, her bond with her mother feels fractured, and her sense of who she is has been tested again and again. Jeremiah offers her a future that looks clear and certain. Conrad offers her a future filled with passion, yes, but also the terrifying possibility of losing it all. So when Conrad begs her not to go through with the wedding, it's not a lack of love that makes Belly hesitate, it's the weight of fear. Choosing Conrad feels like choosing chaos, while Jeremiah feels like choosing peace. But here's the tragedy, that peace is an illusion. Belly knows deep down that marrying Jeremiah won't erase the ache she still feels every time Conrad looks at her. She knows that no amount of stability can quiet the heartbeat that skips whenever she's in Conrad's presence. Her silence in the face of his confession speaks volumes. She wants to say yes, but she's terrified of the consequences. Conrad, however, is past the point of restraint. For 3 seasons, we've watched him hold back, swallow his feelings, and let Jeremiah step forward. In episode 8, that restraint vanishes. His confession is raw and unpolished. He doesn't hide behind half-truths or carefully chosen words. He tells Belly exactly what he feels. He still loves her, he always has, and if she walks away now, he may never get another chance to prove it. It's not a romantic declaration meant to sweep her off her feet. It's a plea. Conrad is on his knees emotionally, bearing every scar, every regret, every ounce of love he has kept bottled up. He's not trying to win against Jeremiah. He's trying to stop Belly from making a choice that he knows will haunt her for the rest of her life. The intensity of the moment is almost unbearable. Belly's silence crushes Conrad, but it also breaks the audience. Because in that silence, we see the battle raging inside her. She wants him. She wants the life they could build together. But her fear is louder. Fear of being left, fear of pain, fear of history repeating itself. And so, even as her eyes well with tears and her breath catches in her throat, she clings harder to Jeremiah. This is what makes episode 8 so powerful. Belly's decision is not about choosing who she loves more, it's about choosing what kind of life she thinks she can survive. She tells herself Jeremiah is stability, but the truth is written across her face every time Conrad speaks. Her heart still beats for him, and that is the real tragedy. As Section 2 closes, Conrad's confession doesn't shatter Belly's resolve the way he hoped. Instead, it leaves her torn in two, standing on the edge of a decision that could change. Not just her future, but the Fisher brothers' relationship forever. Jeremiah's betrayal has been revealed, Conrad's heart has been laid bare, and Belly is caught in a silence heavy enough to break her. The question now is not just who she will choose, but how much she's willing to risk for love. When Conrad's confession finally cuts through the air, it doesn't just hit Belly, it detonates in Jeremiah's chest like a grenade. For Jeremiah, this moment is more than heartbreak. It is humiliation, exposure, and betrayal all wrapped into one. In the blink of an eye, his carefully constructed future with Belly starts crumbling. The wedding, the promises, the image of himself as the man who could finally give Belly the happiness Conrad couldn't, all of it fractures when Conrad's words reach her ears. Jeremiah had always believed he was different from his brother. Where Conrad brooded in silence, Jeremiah wore his heart on his sleeve. Where Conrad pulled away, Jeremiah leaned in. He prided himself on being the open, dependable one, the boy who would never let Belly down. But now, with his secret dragged into the light, that image is destroyed. The safety he promised Belly collapses under the weight of his own mistake. And the cruelest part? It's Conrad who delivers the blow. The fallout is immediate and ugly. Jeremiah looks at his brother not just with anger, but with a raw sense of betrayal. To him, Conrad has broken the one rule that always kept their fragile relationship intact. Brothers don't stab each other in the back. By exposing his cheating and then confessing his love to Belly, Conrad has crossed a line Jeremiah never thought he would. It's not just about losing Belly anymore, it's about losing the trust that bound them as siblings. Jeremiah lashes out. His words are sharp, fueled by desperation. He accuses Conrad of waiting for the perfect moment to destroy him, of never truly letting him have Belly without standing in the background, waiting for her to come back. He claims Conrad doesn't care about Belly's happiness at all, that this is about winning, about proving he was the one Belly should have chosen all along. His anger is not entirely logical, but in his pain, Jeremiah believes it. Conrad, however, doesn't fight back with the same venom. For once, he isn't hiding behind sarcasm or distance. His voice trembles with conviction as he tells Jeremiah the truth. This isn't about competition. It's about Belly. It's always been about Belly. He couldn't stay silent anymore, knowing she was about to commit her life to someone who had already betrayed her. Conrad's honesty cuts deeper than any insult, because Jeremiah knows in his heart that his brother isn't lying, and yet that doesn't make it hurt less. For Jeremiah, this moment confirms his worst fear, that Belly's heart has never been fully his. No matter how much she tried to love him, no matter how much stability he offered, Conrad has always been the shadow in the room. His presence has always been a reminder that Jeremiah is the second choice, the safer option, the consolation prize. To have that fear confirmed in such a public, devastating way is unbearable. The brothers' fallout ripples beyond just their fight. Their fractured relationship is now laid bare for Belly as well. She sees not only her two great loves colliding, but also the destruction her indecision has fueled. Belly has always been torn between the Fisher boys, but now, for the first time, she realizes the cost of her struggle. It isn't just her heart at stake. It's their brotherhood. Every stolen glance, every unresolved feeling, every half-truth has built up to this breaking point, and now the bond between Conrad and Jeremiah may be shattered beyond repair. What makes this moment even more tragic is that the brothers are mirrors of each other's pain. Conrad carries regret. Regret for every time he pushed Belly away. Regret for letting Jeremiah step in. Regret for waiting too long. Jeremiah carries insecurity, the gnawing belief that no matter what he does, no matter how much he gives, he will never be enough compared to Conrad. Both are bleeding, both are desperate, and yet neither can see past their own hurt long enough to reach the other. Episode 8 transforms the Fisher brothers' rivalry from quiet tension into an open war. Every glance between them now feels loaded with years of jealousy, resentment, and unspoken truths. Belly isn't just choosing between two boys she loves. She's standing in the middle of a battlefield where the cost of her decision could be the end of a brotherhood that once seemed unbreakable. As Section 3 closes, the line is drawn. Jeremiah sees Conrad as the enemy, not just in love, but in blood. Conrad sees Jeremiah as the man who will never truly understand Belly's heart. And Belly, caught between them, feels the crushing weight of knowing that no matter what choice she makes, someone will be destroyed. The Fisher brothers' love for Belly has become their greatest weakness, and Episode 8 makes it clear this triangle is no longer just about romance, it's about survival. The rehearsal dinner was supposed to be a moment of joy, a chance to celebrate the love story everyone believed in. Tables dressed in white linen, candles glowing softly, guests laughing in polite tones. On the surface, it all looked perfect. But for Belly, every detail felt like it was crumbling beneath her feet. She walked into that room carrying the weight of two truths she could not escape. Jeremiah had betrayed her, and Conrad still loved her. No amount of flowers, no polished speeches, no sparkling lights could hide the storm raging inside her. Taylor, ever the sharp-eyed best friend, noticed the cracks immediately. She'd been Belly's anchor through the chaos, but even she couldn't keep the night from unraveling. Earlier, she'd pressed Belly to talk, to face what Conrad confessed, to admit the truth she was trying to bury. Taylor didn't mince words. She made it clear that Belly could not build a future on silence and denial, but Belly, shaken and afraid, clung to her role as the bride-to-be, insisting she could push forward. By the time they reached the dinner, Taylor's warnings echoed in her head like sirens. Then there were the brothers. Conrad sat at one end of the room, quiet but impossible to ignore. His presence was heavy, like a storm cloud no one wanted to acknowledge. Every time Belly's eyes drifted toward him, the memory of his confession burned inside her chest. His silence now was even more unbearable than his words. He didn't need to speak. His gaze said everything. He was still waiting, still hoping, still begging her to choose him without a single word spoken. Jeremiah, on the other hand, wore his smile like armor. He played the perfect fiancé, charming the guests, laughing at the right moments, rapping, an arm around Belly as if nothing was wrong. But beneath the brightness of his grin, his eyes betrayed him. They darted to Conrad every few seconds, watching, wary, as though expecting another blow. His desperation was palpable. He knew the truth was out. He knew Conrad had laid himself bare. And yet he fought to hold the image together. His smile was not joy. It was survival. For Belly, caught between them, every second of the dinner was agony. Sitting beside Jeremiah, she felt the suffocating weight of his closeness. He represented the life she thought she wanted. Safe, steady, predictable. But across the room, Conrad's quiet presence reminded her of the life she truly desired, but feared to claim. Every clink of a glass, every toast, every polite laugh from a relative was another reminder that this wasn't a celebration. It was a performance. And Belly was the lead actress in a play she no longer believed in. The tension was thick enough to choke on. Conversations overlapped, silverware clinked against plates, but beneath it all ran an undercurrent of unspoken words. The triangle wasn't hidden anymore. It was alive in the air, vibrating through every glance, every pause, every silence that lingered too long. Guests might not have understood, but Belly, Jeremiah, and Conrad felt it with every breath. Taylor kept close watch, eyes flicking between Belly and Conrad, as if trying to shield her best friend from the storm she saw coming. She whispered reassurances, tried to keep Belly grounded, but even Taylor couldn't erase the truth. Belly's face told the whole story. Her forced smiles, her trembling hands, her eyes darting away whenever Conrad's gaze met hers. She was unraveling in plain sight. And yet, the dinner didn't end with an explosion. No plates shattered. No dramatic declarations broke the room. Instead, the silence became the most powerful weapon of all. Every moment Belly stayed quiet was a choice, a refusal to confront what she truly felt. Jeremiah clung tighter. Conrad sat heavier in the shadows, and Belly carried the unbearable weight of both. By the end of the evening, the room was filled with laughter and polite applause. But for Belly, the sound rang hollow. Beneath the surface, everything was breaking. The rehearsal dinner was supposed to be a rehearsal for joy, but it became a rehearsal for heartbreak. The calm facade only highlighted the chaos beneath it, making it clear that this wedding was built on fragile lies. And sooner or later, those lies would collapse. As Section 4 closes, the dinner leaves all three characters standing on the edge of disaster. Jeremiah pretends the future is still intact. Conrad waits for the moment Belly will finally stop lying to herself. And Belly struggles to breathe under the crushing weight of her fear. The storm hasn't broken yet, but episode 8 makes it clear that when it does, nothing will be left standing. Love has never felt heavier than it does now. What began as a summer of possibility has sharpened into a storm of heartbreak, jealousy, and impossible decisions. As Belly walks through the final hours before the wedding, her emotions churn like a sea in the middle of a storm. Every glance from Jeremiah is tender but heavy with expectation. Every silence from Conrad is charged, with unspoken words that feel like they could shatter everything if they were unleashed. And caught between them, Belly feels her heart split in two, torn by love's pull in opposite directions. But this episode doesn't paint love as the sweet, comforting escape it once was. Instead, love is a battlefield, and every choice Belly makes has consequences that ripple outward, touching everyone around her. The soft glow of nostalgia has been replaced by the harsh glare of reality. Jeremiah loves her openly, fiercely, and without hesitation. Conrad, however, loves her deeply but with a fire that has always been guarded, almost too much for him to admit until it burst out in last night's confession. Both brothers have placed their hearts in Belly's hands, but only one can stay there. Then comes betrayal. Not just of one brother by another, but the deeper betrayal of what was once a family unbreakable in its bond. Jeremiah looks at Conrad like a stranger now, hurt that his own brother would dare to cross the line he thought was sacred. Belly feels it too, the betrayal of her trust, the breaking of promises whispered under starlight when everything seemed simpler. Even Taylor's sharp warnings echo in her mind. If she's not careful, she could lose both of them forever. Love and betrayal are no longer opposites here. They bleed into each other, creating a tension that cannot be undone. The weight of choice grows heavier with every passing moment. At the rehearsal dinner, the conversations blur together around Belly as her mind runs in circles. What does it mean to choose Jeremiah, the boy who has always been by her side, the one who holds her gently and offers stability? And what does it mean to choose Conrad, the boy whose quiet passion has always haunted her, the one she has never truly been able to let go of? Choosing one feels like betraying not only the other, but also herself. She knows she cannot keep running from the decision, but she also knows that whichever path she takes will burn bridges she may never rebuild. The camera doesn't need words to tell this story. It lingers in the silences, in the stolen glances, across the room, in the way Jeremiah's hand brushes against Belly's only for her to pull away, distracted by the weight of Conrad's gaze. Each moment becomes a reminder that this is no longer a summer romance. It is a crucible, a test of who Belly is and who she wants to become. And then comes the build-up, the subtle signals that the shocking ending is closer than anyone expects. Laurel notices her daughter's distant stares and tightens her jaw, sensing trouble but unable to intervene. Stephen cracks a joke to break the tension, but only succeeds in highlighting it. Even the dinner toasts, meant to celebrate love and union, land like bitter reminders of what might be lost. Choice is coming for Belly whether she is ready or not. And as the night deepens, the lines between love, betrayal, and choice blur into one haunting question. Who will Belly truly choose? When the moment arrives, by the end of this section, it's clear that the episode is pushing everything toward an inevitable breaking point. Belly is no longer standing at a crossroads. She is being pulled toward a cliff, with both brothers on either side, each waiting, to see if she'll take the leap into their arms or step back entirely. The shocking ending has not arrived yet, but its shadow looms over every scene, a reminder that love stories don't always end the way we dream.